So here we have it, another indestructible budget mule from good old Suzuki. GSX 750F might seem like a rudimentary tool, however it has so many positives going for it that I thought it's gonna be great to give it some credit. GSX 750F was made similarly to its smaller brother to fill the gap in model lineup. It fits between the Super Sport and Radical GSXR models and Naked GSX and the Bandit family. It was actually first presented in the late 80s with a different body style known as the Teapot. In 1998, Suzuki updated their GSX-F bunch, focusing on bodywork and instrumentation. Was this a good change? This question will be answered differently depending on who you ask. Seems to me that people usually describe those old teapots as ugly motorcycles, so perhaps this styling change in 1998 is a plus. But even with all that effort, later GSX still looks somewhat bland, wouldn't you say so? Of course beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so you be the judge. So what do you get for your money then? GSX 750F isn't here to be the fastest bike in town. That job was delegated to its GSXR angry brother. GSX's mission is to provide nice, all-round motorcycling with a pinch of performance without putting you into a bankruptcy. And to be fair, it does exactly that. Building bikes on a budget in a smart way is what Suzuki mastered over the years. They really know how to make good use of the parts bin to create a decent motorcycle. They did this so many times and GSX isn't the exception. Steel frame saves money but still provides good stiffness. Brakes known from other models further reduce the cost of the project but still work very well. Fairing panels shared with the 600 variant, and the list goes on. There is nothing wrong with using the old technology in many different models as long as it works, and it certainly works here. Bike presents itself nicely and handles fine. I found GSX stable at speed and adequately controllable in the corners. Obviously this is to a degree, and very spirited track riding would not be happening on stock suspension and tires. For everyday riding and occasional adrenaline rush, this package is more than enough. What I really liked though was the riding position. At the end of the day, this would be classified as a sports tourer, and what that usually means? Lack of comfort. Manufacturers tend to make this type of machines more sporty, with little thought of potential discomfort, but here I was pleasantly surprised. It really isn't all that bad. Admittedly, pegs are high, but bars were mounted fairly high also, so spending some time in the saddle is absolutely doable. Speaking of the seat, that one is good too. Long one-piece perch allows carrying a pillion and gives good enough room. Screen does its job fine, up to legal speeds of course, and overall riding position is far from extreme. The GSX 750F motor is very strongly related to old Sachs GSXR engine. Lots of components are shared between them, and you could actually swap those lamps around without too much hassle. That's how similar they are. It's an incredible piece of engineering and served in so many applications, starting from radical sports bikes, going through sport touring bikes and even naked bikes. Truly versatile motor with incredible potential for modifications and tuning. Aftermarket support for air-cooled Suzukis is mind-boggling, and although those bikes aren't in production anymore, you can get pretty much any parts you want. Durability and longevity of those engines is almost legendary. As long as you're diligent with maintenance, high mileage isn't the problem at all. Some oil consumption is considered normal, but huge amounts could require engine overhaul. Performance is overall good considering the size of this particular application. 750cc isn't really that much, but 92 horsepower generated by this 16-valve dual overhead camshaft unit is vigorous enough to make you grin. There isn't much torque at low RPM, but that is a trait of smaller rev-happy engines. And rev-happy it really is. Cable-actuated clutch provides smooth operation, and 6-speed gearbox feeds the power through the standard O-ring chain. We gave our GSX some little workout in 35 degrees Celsius and burning sun without any overheating symptoms, so I guess the good old cooling system worked great. Gearbox was slick and positive, but exhaust note was a bit lame and not too enjoyable. I'm sure some aftermarket can would sort it out easily. Let's put it in higher gear, let's say 5th. There we go, so 3000 RPM. Yeah, I mean, look, it's only a 750, so you can't expect gobs of torque. For somebody who's starting the motorcycle adventure, or maybe they're coming back to motorcycling after, you know, a long break, this would be a brilliant deal. What about the equipment on the GSX 750F? So first of all, your clutch. No hydraulic clutch here. Clutch is cable actuated, which in my view is a bit of a bummer, but remember, this is a budget bike, so what can you expect? In terms of dashboard, you've got the speedo, your total mileage and daily mileage, indicator lights, rev counter, and it actually spins to 12,000 RPM, so fairly high. Again, this is only a 750. You've got a clock, which is fairly well visible. You've got a fuel gauge, which is very handy. And you've got some dash lights, such as oil pressure, neutral, and high beam. The bike has a center stand. The mirrors are pretty damn good, I've got to say, because normally on those motorcycles you only see your elbows, and here I can actually see what's behind me. The wind deflection from this screen, I'm not entirely sure if this screen is factory or maybe this is an aftermarket screen, but the wind deflection is, again, okay. Fuel tank, I can't remember its size, but I believe it's about 20 liters. The engine note, this bike is bone stock, so the stock exhaust is very quiet, really muzzled, but that's okay. It purrs nicely like a kitten. At least you won't wake up your neighbors. Considering prices of those bikes, it really is hard to criticize anything. For that little money, GSX becomes somewhat of a bargain. Center stand is standard, decent size of fuel tank, frugal on fuel when ridden sensibly, easy to service and plenty fast for most of bikers. It's also a good candidate for first big motorcycle, and abundance of spares make it hassle-free to live with. It's not a supermodel from a beauty pageant, nor it's a boosa killer, but it will serve you for years, keeping you and your wallet happy. So what to look for when buying one? Well, the youngest release of the GSX 750 is over 10 years old now, so standard principles for used bike purchase should apply. Bear in mind, lots of those were used as commuter bikes, in all weather conditions including the rough one, so perhaps stay away from these as corrosion will be a huge issue. Make sure the gearbox is okay and there's no rust in the fuel tank, as that will kill your carbs in no time. Purchased of the low miles example without any modifications probably makes most sense, because there's so many GSXs around, there's just no point of bothering with bikes needing any work. In a nutshell, it's a solid bike for everybody for very little money. Thanks for watching, till next time.